Act grants citizenship to refugees from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh who came to India before December 31st, 2014 on religious grounds. Meanwhile, the TMC to the Congress claim the CAA notification is perfectly timed with Lok Sabha polls, while Mamata Banerjee says the Modi government should have notified the rules 6 months ago.
দেখুন আমরা বারংবার বলেছি যে সিটিজেনশিপ অ্যামেন্ডমেন্ট অ্যাক্ট অর্থাৎ সিএএ এটা তৈরি হয়েছে প্র্যাকটিক্যাল গ্রাউন্ড লেভেলে ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন হওয়ার জন্য এবং অসংখ্য মানুষ যারা রয়েছে ধর্মীয়ভাবে প্রতারিত হয়ে যারা ভারতবর্ষে এসে আশ্রয় নিয়েছে তাদের প্রত্যেকের জন্য এই আইন অত্যন্ত ফলপ্রসূ হবে এবং এই আইন নাগরিকত্ব দেওয়ার আইন একটা লোকেরও নাগরিকত্ব এই আইনের মাধ্যমে যাবে না, এটা আপনার অন ক্যামেরা আমি নিশ্চিত করে বলে দিচ্ছি।
আধার কার্ড যখন বাতিল করা হচ্ছিল আমরা রুখে দাঁড়িয়েছিলাম এবং আজও যদি কারো অধিকার কেড়ে নেওয়া হয় মনে রাখবেন তৃণমূল কংগ্রেস একমাত্র রাজনৈতিক দল সর্বপ্রথম সে আওয়াজ তুলবে আলোড়ন তুলবে যে মধ্যরাতে এমন কিছু করবেন না। এটা ফ্রিডম অ্যাট মিডনাইট নয়, এটা বিজেপির পরিকল্পনা ছলনা। সাহস থাকলে আপনি 6 মাস আগে দিতেন, 4 বছর অপেক্ষা করতে হলো কেন? আর হঠাৎ ইলেকশনের আগে নানা রকম বুলি আউড়ে বেড়াচ্ছেন। কে নিয়ে কি করবে আমার ডাউট আছে। আমি সবাইকে বলবো চিন্তা করবেন না, ভয় পাবেন না, কোনো মানুষকে বঞ্চিত হতে আমরা দেব না, এনআরসি করতে দেব না।
The way they are trying to bring it today is to make the election polarized. Mr. Modi is losing. He is going to be below 220. Therefore, he is trying to polarize it. The last weapon is CAA rules and to divert from the real issue of electoral bonds, in which the Supreme Court of India slapped the SBI, and today they are asked them to submit the details. It's a diversionary tactics.
तो अब ये सब करके हिंदू मुसलमान करेंगे, भारत पाकिस्तान करेंगे, भारत बांग्लादेश करेंगे। ये खेल आखिरी खेल उनका चल रहा है, चलने दो, लागू होने दो। 370 भी हटाया, क्या किया कश्मीर में? कश्मीरी पंडित आ गए घर में। ये खेल करते रहते हैं लोग। अभी जब तक चुनाव है तब तक ये सीए खेलेंगे, खेलने दो।
आदरणीय गृह मंत्री जी ने पहले ही बताया था कि लोकसभा इलेक्शन से पहले सीए का रूल्स रेगुलेशन चालू हो जाएगा, तो चालू हो गया। हम जो बोलते हैं वो करते हैं। अब किसी की इससे तकलीफ नहीं है, सब आनंद भी आनंद में है, लेकिन हमारे मुख्यमंत्री को नींद नहीं आ रहा है, यही तकलीफ है उनकी।
All right, let's cut across to my colleague Surya Agniroy joining us from Kolkata, because the maximum political fallout, or rather reaction, stemming in from the TMC and Kolkata and West Bengal there. Polumi Saha joining us from the BJP headquarters, Delhi. Polumi, coming to you first. You know, there is going to be political commentary which will suggest why right before elections where the notification is concerned. But having said that, you know, the BJP, or at least Amit Shah, has constantly been saying that it will be notified before elections 2024.
That's right. The BJP, of course, said that it was a poll promise that they made in their party manifesto ahead of the 2019 general elections, and they were committed to, in fact, fulfilling that promise. Immediately in the year 2019 itself, December 2019, is when the bill was passed through both houses of parliament, and then it received presidential assent and became an act. But, of course, the notification of the rules were awaited for the past 4 years. The centre says, of course, that, you know, there was the COVID year of 2020, because of which things were delayed. Of course, COVID has been behind us, quite thankfully, for a while now, and yet the notification took all of this while to come in. Well, the centre has said that, you know, there are certain myths that are being propagated as far as CAA is concerned. CAA is merely aimed at providing fast-track Indian citizenship to persecuted religious minorities. That includes Hindus, Christians, Sikhs, Jains and Buddhists and Parsis from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Bangladesh who entered India before 31st of December 2014. This is not meant to snatch away any Indian's citizenship. So they're trying to reassure the public out there, communities across the country, that there is no attempt being made to take away the citizenship, snatch away the citizenship of any Indian. So this is only to, of course, provide these religious persecuted minorities a safe haven in India, and that is the only aim as far as CAA is concerned. Of course, it will take a political turn immediately. Already reactions that are coming in from the Shiv Sena UBT faction, from the Trinamool Congress, who of course learnt of the news earlier on today that the rules would be notified, and Mamata Banerjee addressed that press conference. Akhilesh Yadav and others who've already come out and said that this is, some saying that this is the diversionary tactic because the headline of the day was the electoral bonds ruling from the Supreme Court. So this is all about, being diverting from that real issue. Some, of course, saying that this is meant to polarize the ground situation in states like West Bengal and the Northeast before the elections.
Poulomi, one quick question before, we get in Surya Agni. The fact is there will be political fallback. We're already hearing fair amounts where West Bengal is concerned. But the fact it's also come now less than a month before active campaigning begins. What is the political math, especially in the north of Bengal or a state like Assam, where the BJP is concerned?
Well, as far as Assam is concerned, Himanta Biswa Sarma did anticipate that this was coming. He was, aware of the fact that these rules would be notified, as, of course, government ministers have come on record and said that, the rules would be notified before the general election schedule was announced and the model code came into effect. So as far as, he was concerned, he said that he would ensure that law and order doesn't exactly take a hit as it did in 2019 at the time that the bill was passed in Parliament. Though, of course, it's going to be a little tense on the ground already. Some reports trickling in from Guwahati as well, and security measures have been taken right here in Delhi's Shaheen Bagh as well, which saw a lot of protests in 2019 against CAA and NRC. But as far as West Bengal is concerned, that is going to be the big challenge. The BJP, of course, had made that poll promise to, of course, the Mathua community in North 24 Parganas, specifically where they're based, in 2021 during the assembly election, saying, look, we brought the bill and it has received presidential assent in 2019. So we are committed to notifying the rules as well, based on which they sought the votes of the Mathua community, not 24 Parganas. Subsequent to that, you saw a bit of discord within the community and the BJP camp. The community, of course, thought that they would be granted citizenship in 2022. You saw the Mathua community leader, the Mathua Mahasangh leader, Shantanu Thakur, who's also a union minister and BJP member of Parliament from Bongaon, saying, exiting certain WhatsApp groups and expressing basically his discontent, saying, my community is unhappy. BJP is not committed to fulfilling its promise, to going back to the people now in the run-up to the notification in the month of January, saying it's coming, stay patient. And then, of course, you're seeing those images of celebration. But the TMC is going to go all guns blazing and say that, this is meant to discriminate. This is meant to polarize and create a sensitive and intense situation on the ground, when polls should be the priority and security and law and order should be priority.
Poulomi, appreciate you joining us. Thank you there. We were going to cut across to our colleague Indrajit and Surya Agni. There seems to be, once again, a technical issue on that account, on all that's going on in West Bengal. But let's quickly move on now and get to our big story of the day. The Supreme Court has pulled up the SBI in a fashion which is astounding. The top court junked India's top bank, SBI's plea, seeking time till June 30th and ordering the banks to submit an electoral bond donor details to the Election Commission by tomorrow, March 12th. Furthermore, the EC shall compile the information and publish the details in its official website no later than by March 15th, 2024 by 5 p.m. The top court has even said that if SBI fails to submit the data by tomorrow, they will face contempt proceedings. But here's the catch. The Supreme Court has allowed SBI to submit two separate lists, one list of the donors and the others of the bonds redeemed by the political parties. What this means is that the SBI does not have to connect the two lists, so we won't have information on who donated to which party, but many suggest, well, it could reflect in terms of could be matched. Here's more.
The miscellaneous application filed by SBI seeking an extension of time for the disclosure of details of the purchase and redemption of electoral bonds until 30 June 2024 is dismissed. Full stop. SBI is directed to disclose the details by the close of the business hours, 12 March 2024. Full stop. As regards the ECI, we direct that ECI shall compile the information and publish the details in its official website no later than by 15 March, by 5 p.m. on 15 March 2024.
All right, let's cut across to my colleague Nalini Sharma, who's joining us live with the very latest right now. Nalini, would you give us the implication of this order? What does it mean for the SBI? Because if SBI doesn't comply, which is the top bank of the country, then it will be held in contempt.
Well, Preeti, like the Supreme Court also clearly stated today during the hearing, all of the data that the top court has asked for is something that is already available with the SBI in sealed envelopes deposited with their main branch in Mumbai. So all they have to do is open the sealed envelopes, put together the data and give it to the Election Commission so that the Election Commission can comply with its deadline of the 15th of March and put out that data. Now, what is this data that the Supreme Court has asked for? Mainly two things. Number one, who has purchased the electoral bonds, on what date and for how much amount. And the second set of data that the SBI is supposed to put out is which political party has encashed how much bonds on which particular date. What they will not give, Preeti, is which individual or which entity or which company has given those electoral bonds to which political party. So we are not going to know exactly who has donated to which party, but we are going to get to know who has purchased these electoral bonds, when they've purchased it, for what amount they've purchased it. So only once the SBI data tomorrow is submitted to the ECI and eventually published on the ECI website by the 15th of March, we can try and make some link to determine as to which political party got the donation from which person or entity, because only after finding this out can we determine as to whether or not these political donations had any impact on any government policy, or was there any quid pro quo between these companies who were donating to political parties, and as to whether or not the ruling party in the country, which is the BJP, made any government policies keeping in mind these political donations that they were receiving. But that is only up to the petitioners and to the citizens of India to determine. The SBI from their side will not be putting this data together. It is going to be an uphill battle because the window for both the issuance of the electoral bonds and for their encashment is extremely small. Less than 15 days window is provided, both for issuance of electoral bonds as well as for their encashment. So it remains to be seen how many details are put out first by the SBI, how soon the Election Commission can publish that data. The deadline is the 15th of March, and depending on that data, whether or not there can be any interconnection that can be made between those who purchase the bonds and eventually the parties who encash these bonds or not.
And Nalini, if the data is not uploaded or disclosed where SBI is concerned, then the top bank of this country could be held in contempt.
Absolutely, and the Supreme Court's made it very clear, and they've warned, in fact, the chairman, none less than the chairman of the SBI himself, stating that if this data is not given to the Election Commission by the end of the working day tomorrow, then contempt proceedings will be initiated against them. This obviously comes on the heels of the fact that both the petitioners in the electoral bonds case, the Association for Democratic Reforms, as well as CPIM, have both filed contempt petitions before the Supreme Court, because the deadline has been long over on the 6th of March. So the Supreme Court's just given them a short window of 24 hours to make this happen and to submit this data to the EC. And in case that does not happen, then contempt proceedings will no doubt be initiated against the largest bank of the country.
All right, Nalini, appreciate you joining us and breaking it down for our viewers. We're going to let it be, viewers, but for now, fair amount of politics at the back of that as well. A quick break to stay with us, and we're going to shift our focus to all that is going on where the CEC basically to decide what will be the second list of the BJP and the Congress party for elections 2024. Right now, the meeting will be taking place this evening. We're going to put the spotlight on that. Stay with us.
BJP is anti-Bengal, it is anti-Bengali, it is a party of Bohiragatos or outsiders, it is a party of Jomidars. Funds to Bengal have been stopped, trains in Bengal have been stopped when we went to protest in New Delhi, trains have been stopped for our Janagorjon rally in Kolkata on March 10th. Central forces are only sent to Bengal, not to Gujarat, not to Uttar Pradesh. Now, on the eve of elections, an election commissioner, Arun Goel, has actually resigned. What message does this send about the world's largest democracy? Listen to this, BJP. Trinamool Congress will not allow you to come into Bengal and loot our votes. Trinamool Congress will not allow you to suppress and oppress Bengal. Trinamool Congress will not allow you to damage the interests of the people of Bengal. Not now, not ever.
Welcome back to Tech Today. I'm your host Ayush Alavadi. We spent a couple of days here at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, and one thing is for sure. The buzzword is artificial intelligence, but this time all the tech leaders are walking the talk. There's some things which are kind of boring to put on a TV show like this, but there are some things which are incredibly exciting for tech geeks and everyone who really wants to know what the potential of AI is all about. What's that one device which can get all of us into the AI revolution? That's what we think is the Humane AI pin. I caught up with the founders of this fascinating startup, and here's what they had to say. If I'm looking a bit different, that's because I had the Humane AI pin strapped on to my t-shirt. One of the biggest tech innovations of the decade, according to me. Let me show you how it works. One finger. What's the capital of India?
Searching for capital.
It's talking to me. I can continue talking to you. Could you translate that to Hindi? She's done a great job, and if I don't want to hear that and I just want to see that, well, here you go. In Devanagari script, it's right here. Bharat ki Rajdhani, Nai Delhi hai. Wherever you are, this is a product that's going to be a game changer. A lot of that processing is happening on the device. There's also a server where some of this is happening. But if this is the future, sign me up already. The Humane AI pin. Absolute blockbuster.
party has taken cognizance of the statement made by Mr. Hegde and has also asked for a clarification from him. It must be reiterated that every step that is taken by the Bharatiya Janata Party, every decision that is taken by the Bharatiya Janata Party is always in the interest of our country and in consonance with the spirit of the Constitution of India.
12 दिसंबर 1949 में बाबा साहब का पुतला जलाया था और संविधान की प्रति भी जलाई थी। और देशवासियों से मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि अगर इस बार चूक गए, खासतौर से धर्मनिरपेक्ष, गरीब, दलित, पिछड़े, आदिवासी, तो समझ लो कि ये वार्निंग है। अनंत कुमार हेगड़े पहले मंत्री थे, वो एमपी हैं, उन्होंने कह दिया है कि 400 से ज़्यादा सीट इसलिए चाहिए कि वो संविधान बदलना चाहते।
जम्मू कश्मीर केवल एक क्षेत्र नहीं है, ये जम्मू कश्मीर भारत का मस्तक है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi returning to Kashmir after nearly 5 years, and the valley has undergone a sea change since then. Article 370 is history, putting Kashmir on the road to full integration with India. On his first visit since the abrogation of Article 370, Prime Minister Modi said his government ended decades of bias. The Prime Minister also said there was an era when the people of Jammu and Kashmir were deprived of benefits, and now the valley is flourishing under Modi Sarkar.
कुछ परिवारों के फायदे के लिए जम्मू कश्मीर को जंजीरों में जकड़ दिया गया था। आज 370 नहीं है, इसलिए जम्मू कश्मीर के युवाओं की प्रतिभा का पूरा सम्मान हो रहा है, उन्हें नए अवसर मिल रहे हैं।
In his first visit to Kashmir after Article 370 purge, Prime Minister Modi unveiled multiple development projects worth more than 6,400 crore rupees during the Viksit Bharat, Viksit Jammu Kashmir program at Srinagar's Bakshi Stadium.
मोदी अपने परिवार को विश्वास देकर जा रहा है कि जम्मू कश्मीर के विकास का यह अभियान किसी कीमत पर नहीं रुकेगा। अगले 5 वर्षों में जम्मू कश्मीर और तेजी से विकास करेगा।
With Pooja Shali in Srinagar, Bureau Report, India Today.
Co-powered by PolicyBazaar.com. हर फैमिली होगी इंश्योर्ड। नो स्ट्रेस फिनोलेक्स।
You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhary. Fair amounts of news today, viewers. The top courts taking down of the top bank of the country where electoral bonds are concerned. The CAA notified and the politics around it, but also both the BJP and the Congress right now huddled in to decide the second list less than a month and a half, or rather 4-5 days also, where the election dates to be announced are concerned, and a month and a half to active election campaigning. Both BJP and Congress have their crucial CEC meet today. Both BJP and Congress have entered election mode clearly, leaving no stones unturned for the mega battle. Both parties have scheduled the second CEC meet today in the national capital. The key BJP meet will be attended by Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah, JP Nadda and other core committee members of the party. Chief ministers of BJP-ruled states will also attend the meet to approve the second list of candidates for more than 150 Lok Sabha seats across various states. Mind you, the BJP way ahead of the Congress because where announcing the names of candidates is concerned. Congress is just on 39 in the first list. Congress CEC will decide now on the second list, and hopefully there'll be more number of names. Names from several states like Delhi, Rajasthan, Haryana, and remaining names from Kerala, Telangana will be clear. No, UP will not be discussed, so we still won't know whether Rahul Gandhi will fight from Amethi or Priyanka Gandhi will enter the battleground of Raebareli. Meanwhile, after KC Venugopal, it is expected all heavyweights are likely to be fielded in northern India. So will the big guns finally boom in northern India? Most of them rather apprehensive. Rahul Gandhi, who was not present in the first CEC, is expected to join today. Let's cut across to both our reporters. Maushmi Singh joins us live from the Congress headquarters. On the other hand, Polumi will be joining us from the Bharatiya Janata Party headquarters. Maushmi, what can we expect? What's on the cards? What are the states being discussed? If Rajasthan, Haryana and other than Uttar Pradesh states being discussed, then will the big guns fight where the names of Gehlot, Sachin Pilot are concerned?
Right, Preeti, we know that around 60 seats are being discussed, and these include Gujarat, Rajasthan, also the names of the leftovers in the previous CEC would be deliberated upon. Uttarakhand, one of the important states, of course the Union Territory of Daman Diu, we've already broken that Ketan Patel could get that seat. But apart from that, the key states are Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Gujarat and Assam. These are the states that are being discussed. Clearly, the states where the Congress is in alliance have been kept for a later day. Interestingly, Haryana was to be discussed, but it's not come on the discussion table today. Apparently, yesterday, after the joining of Bijendra Singh, who switched over from the BJP, there's been a little bit of tussle in the state of Haryana. So that's been postponed, and UP is still, kept for a later date.
All right, UP kept for a later day. Thanks, Maushmi, for joining us. And possibly that tussle of Birendra Singh's son, Bijendra Singh, is concerned is over the seat of Hisar. He's a sitting MP from Hisar, from BJP. But Polumi, I want to bring you in. What can we expect from the BJP camp today where the second list comes into question?
Well, Preeti, we are expecting discussions on Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, as well as Telangana, Bihar, Chandigarh and Maharashtra seats to be discussed. At least we're sure that these are states where seats and candidate selection will be discussed at the Central Election Committee meeting, which is to officially begin in a short while from now after the Prime Minister arrives here at the BJP headquarters. Maharashtra, remember, is going to be significant, 48 seats as far as Lok Sabha is concerned. There was seat sharing negotiations that happened just a couple of days ago. NDA leaders met with Mr. Amit Shah from Maharashtra, of course. That included the Chief Minister Eknath Shinde and Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar. A seat sharing formula has more or less been arrived at, which possibly gives the BJP about 28 to 32 seats, Eknath Shinde about 10 to 12 seats, and NCP Ajit Pawar faction between 6 to 8 seats as far as those 48 Lok Sabha seats are concerned. Today, of course, earlier this morning, there was there was buzz that possibly there could be a second round of NDA leaders meeting of Maharashtra. That didn't happen, but a BJP core group met under, of course, the leadership of Devendra Fadnavis and, the state president Chandrakant Bavankhule. So that is also expected to take place today. Maharashtra, of course, I'm specifically mentioning because it's one of those states which has not declared any candidates at the moment. So that is going to be significant. So Karnataka as well is going to be extremely significant because we're hearing that a lot of sitting MPs could possibly lose their tickets as well. The BJP is going to be extremely aggressive in its candidate selection when it comes to Karnataka.
Thanks, Polumi, for that latest update. We're going to keep coming back to you for more. Let's cut across to our political panel. Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, National Spokesperson, BJP, Sujata Paul, Spokesperson, Congress, Ashutosh, author, political analyst, Sanjay Singh, consultant editor, IANS. Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, it does seem that even though you're way ahead of the Congress in terms of announcing the first list in terms of sheer numbers, because the Congress stands at a paltry 39, at least where the first list announcement is concerned, but it's not away from trouble, because it does seem the Maha Yuti not too happy with the kind of seat sharing arrangement that is being reached where Maharashtra is concerned on the 48 seats.
No, Preeti, I think there are a couple of things through which I would like to respond to your concern. Number one, we are way ahead of Congress, not only in terms of declaration of candidates, in terms of clarity, in terms of vision, in terms of roadmap. We have been way ahead of them on so many multiple counts, on so many multiple platforms in the last 10 years. As far as the discussions are concerned, definitely, you see, there are 543 seats. The seats are limited, but the aspirants are many. And that is the problem which any political party or any political Gathbandhan will face. That is a very natural problem. And the conversations is going. The conversation in Maharashtra, the conversation in Bihar, obviously the 195 seats where the candidature have been declared, they are more or less one versus one, BJP versus Congress. But states like Maharashtra and Bihar, from where I come, there are multiple stakeholders. Like, for instance, in Maharashtra, you see there is a faction of NCP, there is a faction of Shiv Sena UBT. In Bihar, there are two factions of Lok Janshakti Party, erstwhile Lok Janshakti Party. There is one Hindustan Awam Morcha, there is one Upendra Kushwaha ji who has to be accommodated. So I think everyone would like to join the bandwagon of victory. And this is very natural, this is very obvious. But as far as the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, we have a vision, we have an imagination. And today we have a leadership which is consulting with every single party. You see, there are core committee meetings happening on an everyday basis. We are seeing only a couple of weeks ago, RLD Chief Mr. Jain Choudhary having a one-on-one meeting with Amit Shah ji, and that declaration of candidature in Meerut and Bagpat that came across. So it does take time, but as far as we are concerned, the elections are not yet announced. We are looking forward to the press conference by the Election Commission of India. But before the elections are announced, as and when things become clearer, there would be absolutely no problem. People are willing to join the NDA under the vision and the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. And there is absolutely, we don't see any particular problem, any quagmire when it comes to the distribution of seats.
All right, Sujata Paul, the fact is, and I'm sure you'll also admit, ma'am, the problem is quite the contrary to what the BJP's problem is. If BJP has a problem of plenty or wanting to fight on seats, you have the opposite, because your top leadership is refusing to get into the Lok Sabha battlefield. The likes of Ashok Gehlot, the likes of, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, Sachin Pilot, a little averse of fighting the Lok Sabha elections. They are happy to campaign but not contest.
Absolutely not. And let's be very clear that on every seat we have a number of aspirants. And that is why the party is taking its time and studying each profile carefully, because we want to give the best to people. And we have to choose from the very, very good ones, if I may call them, better than the other. So, we have a tough task at hand, because here we are we are looking at a party which has been breaking other parties, which has and like the BJP spokesperson just mentioned, he's talking about factions. We're not talking about factions. We are talking about our allies also. So when we spoke about our first list, it might have been only 39, but as you know that our yatra has also been going on, which will soon come to its conclusion. And when we talk about our candidates now, we are also seeing how there are leaders of the BJP who are breaking away from the BJP, like Mr. Rahul Kaswan from Churu. He was the BJP MP from Churu. He's joined the Congress party. You look at Mr. Bijinder Singh from Hisar. He has also joined the Congress party. So the BJP might be breaking parties and taking people by using the pressure of EDIT, etc. But for us, people are coming.
Sujata Paul, I'm going to come back to the question. Ma'am, allow me, as I bring in Ashutosh and Sanjay Singh into this conversation, I will come back to the question that will your top guns fight, because there's a huge question mark on that. But Sanjay Singh, where the BJP is concerned, do you see this as smart gameplay, or, in terms of diminishing your allies, where the word is that in a lot of states, they will have on their symbol an ally contender fight?
Strategically and politically, that's a very interesting situation when you make somebody stand on your symbol. Of course, they are allies, but when they come to your fold and you make them agree to stand on your symbol and perhaps win, he is a BJP member in the House. And therefore, he has to abide by the party whip, and therefore, his kind of any dissent or anything is sealed for next 5 years. So that's a smart move, and that has happened in many states, including Uttar Pradesh, including Bihar, and some other places. Now, today is their second meeting of Central Election Committee. It would be very interesting, perhaps more than the first list, because in first list we had some names which had to be there, and they announced it that way. Of course, there are a few surprises. In the second list, I think there could be more surprises, and one would actually look forward to see as to what is there. So people would look forward to Congress's kind of second list. And when it comes to mother of all battle, which is going to happen, if I may, in 3, 4, 5 states, which is Bihar, which is Uttar Pradesh, which is West Bengal, and Maharashtra again is very important. BJP, of course, is trying to breach boundaries in southern India. That remains a fact. But when you talk about Uttar Pradesh and Congress, CEC is also meeting. And popular anticipation would also be very high as to what happens about Amethi and Raebareli.
All right, Ashutosh, I want to pull you in. You know, at this juncture, Ashutosh, what at least for the Congress would be essential is if the top guns boom in the Hindi heartland, irrespective of what the political fortunes can be. Because the understanding we are getting in is that the top leadership of the Congress, be it state leadership like Mr. Gehlot, Mr. Pilot, of course, Dipinder Hooda is fighting, but where Bhupinder Hooda is concerned, or even a Priyanka Gandhi in Raebareli, a little apprehensive to actually take the political plunge. This doesn't augur well for the party.
Preeti, before answering the question, let me draw a little parallel with the cricket. It's like India and England are fighting with each other, and it is claimed that India's bench strength is very strong, but they are trying to import players from the England. It's something like that. If BJP's bench strength is so good, then why it needs the politicians and the leaders from other political parties? That shows its weakness. Now I'm coming back to the question you asked. The question is very simple. Today the Congress party, North India, is in a very pathetic situation. They might be having a 38% vote share or the 40% vote share, but when the Lok Sabha election is there, BJP, the Congress party does not know how to confront the phenomenon called Narendra Modi in North India. And at the last 2 consecutive elections, it is seen that almost 90% seats are going to the BJP, and the Congress is not in a position to stop it. So what can be the strategy? Obviously, the top guns of the Congress party has to fight elections. If Ashok Gehlot, Sachin Pilot, people like them, if they decide to contest election, irrespective of the fact whether they are going to win or lose, because in electoral politics, nobody can claim that he's contesting election and he's going to win for sure. It's something like that. So you never know when Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot, the top leaders, are contesting elections. First of all, it enthuses your cadre at the ground level. And when the cadre sees that their own top leaders are taking risk, boldly fighting BJP, boldly fighting Narendra Modi, so it makes a lot of difference.
Okay.
But if they shirk from the responsibility, that sends a very bad signal. And it is in this context, I've always been saying that Rahul Gandhi, come what may, whether he's going to lose, whether he's going to win, he should contest election from Amethi. Priyanka Gandhi should contest election from Raebareli. Right. If they are seen not to be contesting from there, then the message will be very, very clear.
But
that
Ashutosh,
they are turning away, they're not bold enough to face.
But there's a fine line between should and would, and right now I think both of them are standing right in the middle of that, because it seems it doesn't look like at least Priyanka Gandhi is looking to fight from Raebareli. So would she fight? Well, right now at least what seems to suggest is no. But the other leaders, they've been shirking, and we're going to take that question to Sujata Paul, but I want to bring in Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan again. Dr. Paswan, you do know, right now in political circles, especially across, who covers what party, the joke is in the BJP, agar Congress ka hai to mala dal do. You're in silent. Dr. Paswan, you're in silence, sir. Yeah. There's a problem with your audio. Okay, we're going to try and fix. Okay, Dr. Paswan, we'll just come right back to you. We're going to fix your audio. And let's take that question to Sujata Paul first, and we'll come back to Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan. Sujata Paul, it is essential today, if in any which way you want to fight in the Hindi heartland and you want to give up the right message to your cadre and to your voters essentially, that your top leadership takes to the ground and fight this election. Because the true essence of a politician is to come through Lok Sabha and fight the election, especially where the top leadership is concerned, ma'am.
If you do, you're damned. I mean, if you don't, you're damned. And why do I say that? Because if you talk about our senior leaders, a lot of questions have been raised on them by our friends in the media and by various people as to why they're not giving space for the younger lot. And so therefore, I take your question well, and I also appreciate the fact that you're talking about the senior leaders. And of course, the cadres do want our senior leaders to be contesting. And let me give you one little example. I come from Uttarakhand, and on one of the seats, our senior leader has been saying that, yeah, we have many contenders and these are younger ones and they are new ones, and they are aspirants. And we all want that particular person to contest. And I'm talking about a specific person, Mr. Ganesh Bodhyal. So, all the candidates are excellent. All the aspirants, rather, are excellent. But yes, the seniors are always looked towards. And I am sure that in this list, you will find many of our senior leaders' names also. Rest assured.
Okay.
Yes.
Sujata Paul, we'll wait for that. But, when I said senior, doesn't really mean older. The likes of Sachin Pilot, likes of Priyanka Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi from Amethi supposed to be your youth icons. They might be senior, but if they are going to shirk fighting in election, what's the messaging there? Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, if we have you back, that question is, or what even Ashutosh seemed to suggest, that if your bench strength is so strong, why do you need the Congress or any other ally? And what I pointed out was there's a sense, at least in political circles, that get whoever you can on your side before the election.
No, I don't think I agree with you, Preeti, on that, because if you do a detailed analysis of the first list of the 195 candidates, I don't think there are less than 1% people who have come from the other political parties. I think more or less they are from the Bharatiya Janata Party itself. Look from New Delhi. You just look at New Delhi. All the people who are contesting the Lok Sabha election from New Delhi, the 5 seats that have been declared, all of them are Bharatiya Janata Party leaders. I can give you other examples such as that. But as far as narrative is concerned, this narrative is being pushed that we are importing people from other political parties. You cannot stop anyone. See, whenever election comes, the politics of Aya Ram and politics of Gaya Ram has been there in operation for so long. But I'm happy that Ashutosh ji makes this comparison of India and England, and he says Congress party is England, and he has made it in a very healthy spirit. I welcome that. Madam Sujata Paul was making an argument that Mr. Rahul Kaswan has left the Bharatiya Janata Party. Yes, he has left the Bharatiya Janata Party, madam, but I think that's a very sticky wicket for you. Himanta Biswa Sharma, Jyotiraditya Scindia, Jitin Prasada, RPN Singh, so many people in the past have deserted Congress party because they were feeling suffocated in the Congress party. The debate is not that. The Bharatiya Janata Party today is the world's largest political party. Our bench strength is unparalleled. Our bench strength, we have a lot of people with a lot of merit, people with a lot of competent as well. And that is the reason in 2014, in 2019, we have seen such a remarkable mandate for the Bharatiya Janata Party. So we don't need to import people. And number two, the question on alliance is concerned. Preeti, we have to understand that we come from the tradition of Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji is the same person who gave coalition a status of dharma. He used to say, Gadbandhan dharma hota hai hamare liye. Gadbandhan is not just a matter of politics, but Gadbandhan is a matter of dharma for us. And he has ran a coalition of people like Mamata Banerjee, Farooq Abdullah, DMK. Even today we are seeing in Andhra Pradesh TDP, Janasena, all of them are coming.
But
NDA.
fair enough.
I think that is a more welcome step.
But Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, fair enough, but you yourself know that the coalition dharma of Mr. Vajpayee is very different to the coalition dharma of these years, because I'll only give you, for example, the number of NDA meets that you've had. The only NDA meet that you've had is twice, which has happened only in the last 1 year, sir. But I'll come back to that, and I want to bring in both Sanjay Singh as well as Ashutosh back into this conversation. Sanjay Singh, do you think the fact... All right, okay. Okay, so Sanjay Singh, I want to bring you back into this conversation. in seats like Churu, in possible Haryana, Hisar, it might have caused an upheaval in the local Congress unit. But all of this could come together seat by seat and possibly take away from the BJP.
See, in my experience, when it comes to parliamentary election and the way at least Narendra Modi has shaped the BJP and he talks to the electorate, it is ultimately who you are voting for. I've gone to places, seen people who would be actually very critical of the candidate. I have found that in Delhi, I have found that outside, I have found that in Rajasthan, I have found that in Bihar, I have found that in UP, they are very critical of the candidate. But ultimately they say, ये मोदी के लिए है, BJP के लिए है, उनको PM बनाना है या BJP के लिए वोट है. This I have seen happening on the ground. About the another thing which Asutosh, my senior in the profession, was I don't think the analogy with India-England match was the right one. India won the match historical win of 4-1. So that is besides the point. A very comprehensive victory India has over, and that too. And there is nationality issue also. But there was one very interesting point. I heard Pinari Vijayan, Kerala Chief Minister, Congress's national ally, opponent in Kerala. He counted 11 names of former Congress chief ministers who have joined BJP. So that was a very interesting thing to hear. I had not counted that, but he listed it out, saying
But okay, Ashutosh, with all that, one might say, the Congress, if they're so confident about their bench strength, why bring in the Congress leaders? But the fact is, if you look at the scenario, they're also being brave. And correct me if I'm wrong. You're making cuts where you need to make cuts. You can see what's happened in Delhi in terms of at least the candidates that the BJP is picked. And on the other side, the Congress can't even move beyond a conversation where in the first CEC meet, you don't even have Rahul Gandhi.
See, Preeti, first of all, let me answer this question. Those who are imported from the Congress party to the BJP, what they bring on the table, that's the most important thing. I'll take the example of three: Jyotiraditya Scindia, Ashok Chauhan, and RPN Singh. Ashok Chauhan lost from Nanded. RPN Singh lost twice, 2014, 2019 from Kushinagar. Jyotiraditya Scindia lost again in Guna. So if these are such tall leaders, why they were not winning elections? That itself is a story that BJP is trying to get those leaders who on the surface can't win their own elections. They need BJP to win elections. They needed Congress party when the Congress party was on the rise. Right. So in place of these three leaders, if the BJP had given tickets to their own cadre, that would have really strengthened their cadre at the ground level. Right. When you in Nanded, in Guna, and in Kushinagar.
Ashutosh, I need to close the bulletin, but a lot is also given to perception, sir. And perception in that might work. And this is actually a plus for the BJP, if you reckon, because if they can win it on their own esteem.
If Guru Prakash has been given a Rajya Sabha ticket. See, the person like him who day in and day out are defending BJP from left, right and center. All right. He is denied.
Guru Prakash Paswan at least. Okay, I'm going to close the show. I'll give you 10 seconds. You have Ashutosh. He said he would have been happier if you would have gotten a ticket than a Jyotiraditya Scindia from Guna.
No, Preeti, I think Ashutosh ji is a very senior person and we accept his blessings. But I think for me, I'm a simple Karyakarta and I'm sure the Bharatiya Janata Party leadership, there are more than 17 crore people and all of them would be catered to at a certain point in time. There is no point in being in a rush. I have full
all right, so aspirations are there. When they'll be honored is going to be up to the BJP. But thank you, all of you, for joining us. Appreciate it. I'm sure in days to come, these are conversations which are going to continue. By tomorrow morning, we'll have a fairer idea what the second list looks like. Because both the meetings are going to go late into the night, viewers. Thank you for watching. Up next, Rahul Kawal.
A big blow to State Bank of India in poll bonds case. Supreme Court on Monday pulled up India's biggest bank for delaying revealing details of electoral bonds despite the earlier SC order. The SC junked SBI's plea seeking time till June 30 and asked it to share data by Tuesday. The poll panel has been asked to upload the data on its website by 5 p.m. on Friday. The top court warned that if SBI fails to adhere, it will face contempt proceedings. But in a big relief for SBI, which cited humongous amount of data, the top court allowed it to furnish two lists. First list of donors and denominations of poll bonds, and the second list of bonds redeemed by political parties. SBI doesn't have to connect the two lists, which will effectively block linking specific donors to individual parties. While Congress staged protests at an SBI branch in Bengaluru, Party MP Rahul Gandhi called poll bonds the biggest scam and Modi's donation business. Will SC ruling ensure complete transparency in funds used in elections? With Kanu Sharda in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
The miscellaneous application filed by SBI seeking an extension of time for the disclosure of details of the purchase and redemption of electoral bonds until 30 June 2024 is dismissed. Full stop. SBI is directed to disclose the details by the close of the business hours, 12 March 2024. Full stop. As regards the ECI, we direct that ECI shall compile the information and publish the details in its official website no later than by 15 March, by 5 p.m. on 15 March 2024.
बाहर से लोगों को ला रहे हैं। कीर्ति आजाद कौन सा बंगाली है मुझे पता नहीं, यूसुफ पठान कौन सा बंगाली है मुझे पता नहीं। यूसुफ पठान गुजरात से आते हैं, मोदी जी भी गुजरात से आते हैं। मोदी बहिरागत है, फॉरेन एंटिटी है, लेकिन यूसुफ पठान नहीं है। ये कौन सा रूल है? कोई बंगाली नहीं मिला आपको? बंगाली मुसलमान में क्या वोट जीतने की, लड़ने की ताकत नहीं है क्या? आप गुजराती मुसलमान को ला रहे हैं यहाँ पे? ये तो कैसी शर्म करने वाली बात है। बंगाली एंटी बंगाली पार्टी तृणमूल कांग्रेस है।
We have always said that our doors are open for seat sharing negotiations and seat sharing talks, but there should be no unilateral announcement of the seats. We should do it collectively together, like we have done it in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Delhi, UP, and so on. We have always believed, the Indian National Congress has always wanted the India Janbandhan to fight unitedly to defeat the BJP in West Bengal. I'm talking of West Bengal specifically.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस मुद्दे की गंभीरता को समझा और कड़े निर्देशों में बैंक के लिए आदेश दिया है कि आप कल तक सारे डॉक्यूमेंट सबमिट करें, और मुझे लगता है कि ये बहुत अच्छा निर्णय है। मैं वेलकम करती हूँ इसका।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कुछ खास टिप्पणियां की एसबीआई को लेकर, उसके बारे में क्या कहना है?
जी, जैसा कोर्ट ने कहा कि आप अभी तक क्या कर रहे थे जब इन्होंने समय मांगा, तो ये एक बहुत अच्छी बात है कि आज के समय में जब सारा डेटा ऑनलाइन स्टोर होता है, तब ऐसे में इनका ये एक्सक्यूज देना कि हम अभी तक नहीं दे पाएंगे, हमें उसके लिए टाइम चाहिए, ये कोई तर्क संगत नहीं है। और मुझे लगता है कि इनके पास होगा, ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक एक्सक्यूज है इसको टालने के लिए।
So the Supreme Court has taken a tough stand on the State Bank's application for extension of time till 30th June to disclose details about the donors of electoral bonds as well as the parties which redeemed those electoral bonds. The court has dismissed the application of the State Bank, pointing out that the data that the court had asked them to give is already available with the State Bank. According to their own affidavit, they have to just submit the details of the donors on the one hand and the details of the parties which redeemed the bonds on the other hand. State Bank was saying we have to do the cross-matching, etc. Court has said you don't need to do the cross-matching, just give these details to the Election Commission and you have to give it by tomorrow. And thereafter they have said that the State Bank chairman should file an affidavit to this effect. They are not yet taking any contempt action, but they may have to if the State Bank doesn't comply. They have also said that the Election Commission should publish all these details which have been given by the State Bank about the donors and the parties which have received the bonds by 15th of this month. And also the earlier details which were supposed to be given by political parties to the Election Commission about the bonds received by them, even those details have to be published by 15th of this month.
It's very important for the people to know who are the purchasers of these electoral bonds, which political parties were the beneficiaries. Please understand there's a crucial difference between the donations received by other parties and the BJP. The BJP is in a position to give favors to those who contributed to it. There have also been allegations that there have been firms which have been raided by their agencies, their favorite agencies, have immediately after the raid have made donations to the BJP. This sounds like extortion. You go and terrorize somebody, then you extort somebody from them immediately in terms of electoral bond. So full disclosure is absolutely necessary, and I welcome the Supreme Court judgment.
See, you have a secret number on the bond. No, nobody says. They have said it is put it so that when the political party receives it, before that bank matches both. This is exactly solved. It's not a forged one, and this is the explanation given by the Finance Ministry as early as when it was dug out by a journalist that there is a secret number. So they came out with a PIB release saying that, clearly, this has been kept so that no forge.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies. Co-presented by Century Laminates by Manish Malhotra, Fashion for your furniture. Co-presented by Macho Hand, Bade Aaram Se. Co-powered by The Bold Look of Kohler. Co-powered by PolicyBazaar.com, हर family होगी insured. No stress, Finolex.
Good evening and welcome. You're watching the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. Rules for the Citizenship Amendment Act have finally been notified by the Union Home Ministry. What impact may this decision have on the Lok Sabha elections in states like West Bengal, in Assam and elsewhere? That's my top focus on the news track.
Weeks before Lok Sabha polls, big move by Modi government. CAA rules notified. Politics erupts over CAA. Opposition questions timing. CAA showdown. Big focus on Newstrack.
We have a power pack show lined up for you tonight. Let's dive straight into it. Here are the headlines. Police, intelligence and security agencies across the country on alert after notification of CAA. Sources say any attempt to spread misinformation on social media will be monitored. Supreme Court rejects State Bank of India's plea to defer rolling out the electoral bond data. SBI asked to give out data to the Election Commission by 5 p.m. tomorrow. 2 new election commissioners will be named in the next 4 days by a PM Modi-led panel. Sources say Lok Sabha dates will not be announced till these vacancies are filled. Big Atmanirbhar defense boost for India. PM Modi announces mission Divyastra, the first test flight of Made in India Agni 5 intercontinental ballistic missile. The Prime Minister chairs the second BJP poll meeting. Focus on Karnataka, Gujarat, Delhi and UP. Sources say many sitting Karnataka MPs are likely to be dropped. The Modi government today notified rules for the Citizenship Amendment Act 4 years after it was passed by Parliament. The CAA will provide citizenship to refugees from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh who face religious persecution and came to India before the 31st of December 2019. The centre has made it clear that the CAA will not take away citizenship of any Indian citizen. But politics over the CAA is already escalating, with chief ministers of opposition rule states saying they will not be implementing CAA in their states.
Weeks before India heads into crucial general elections, and 4 years after it was passed in the parliament, the Modi government has notified rules for the Citizenship Amendment Act. CAA grants Indian citizenship to refugees who came to India before December 31st, 2014 on religious grounds. It covers 3 neighboring countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh, and includes 6 minority communities: Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and Christians.
অসংখ্য মানুষ যারা রয়েছে ধর্মীয়ভাবে প্রতারিত হয়ে যারা ভারতবর্ষে এসে আশ্রয় নিয়েছে তাদের প্রত্যেকের জন্য এই আইন অত্যন্ত ফলপ্রসূ হবে এবং এই আইন নাগরিকত্ব দেওয়ার আইন, একটা লোকেরও নাগরিকত্ব এই আইনের মাধ্যমে যাবে না।
While the government has assured that CAA will not take away citizenship of any Indian citizen, Mamata Banerjee was the first to oppose the law.
তৃণমূল কংগ্রেস একমাত্র রাজনৈতিক দল সর্বপ্রথম সে আওয়াজ তুলবে আন্দোলন তুলবে।
Other opposition parties are also questioning the timing of CAA implementation.
The way they are trying to bring it today is to make the election polarized. Mr. Modi is losing. He is going to be below 220. Therefore, he is trying to polarize it. The last weapon is CAA rules and to divert from the real issue of electoral bonds.
तो अब ये सब करके हिंदू मुसलमान करेंगे, भारत पाकिस्तान करेंगे, भारत बांग्लादेश करेंगे। ये खेल आखिरी खेल उनका चल रहा है, चलने दो, लागू होने दो। ये खेल करते रहते हैं लोग। अभी जब तक चुनाव है तब तक ये CAA खेलेंगे, खेलने दो।
The Ministry of Home Affairs has created a web portal for CAA and all application will have to be submitted online. Bureau Report, India Today.
What impact can the notification of the Citizenship Amendment Act rules have on the Lok Sabha elections, particularly in contentious states like West Bengal, also in a state potentially like Assam and elsewhere? I want to go across first Raghav Vasti, right-leaning political analyst who joins us on this broadcast. Raghav, the opposition is asking why just before the announcement of election dates, at some point in time in the coming days, the Election Commission of India is supposed to announce the dates and the poll schedule. The opposition alleges that the CAA rules have been notified just before the elections are announced, that there is maximum impact, that this is an attempt by the government to try and polarize the election before the dates are announced.
Look, I think there is no question of any polarization whatsoever.
because, as has been rightly pointed out on many occasions, the CAA is not about denying anybody's citizenship. Now it is an empirical fact which is verifiable that the Hindu population in Pakistan and Bangladesh has actually fallen greatly since independence, while the Muslim population has grown in India. And that is a fact because of our constitution. People of all religions are flourishing. But it's not the same with the situation of Hindus in Bangladesh and Pakistan, as I mentioned earlier, is not the same. And this was the manifesto promise of the BJP. And we know what happened the last time the CA was passed in Parliament. After that, there was the COVID crisis, and then there were a lot of things that were happening. And if it is happening on the eve of the elections, I don't see what is the big fuss about it. Every political party is entitled, when it is in government, to implement its manifesto promises in such a way that they remain fresh in the minds of the people. So I don't understand.
Okay, so you're saying the timing is really of the government's own choosing, and the opposition can crib and curse them, but there's nothing they can do because the government put it in the manifesto. So it's not as if they're doing something which wasn't promised to the people. Secondly, the CA rules that have been notified, Mohammad Tawsifur Rahman is a spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. Mamata Banerjee has taken the most stringent position against the CA. The fact is that the CA rules say that people who are citizens of India, no matter where they came from, will not be denied citizenship. So the whole trope in West Bengal and elsewhere is that this will somehow mean that all these people who've come in potentially from Bangladesh and from elsewhere will now be sent back, or it will lead to some kind of majority versus minority chaos. They're saying, no, this is only for persecuted minorities in countries like Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and it has no bearing on anybody who's already a citizen of India. So what is it that the TMC is so worried about?
So I understand whatever the BJP wants to explain, but we have our own concern. And the concern is according to the article. You know, the Article 10 and 11 of the Constitution allows the Parliament to frame laws on citizenship, but those laws cannot be against the Constitution. The CAA clearly defies the Article 6 of the Constitution. I mean, you just need to understand, if I go wrong, you can attack me back as well. I'm saying to you BJP panelists. I mean, the CAA 2019 does not use the term minority. Instead, it identifies 6 non-Muslim communities. The naming of the communities on religion basis actually goes against the establishment of the Constitution of the principles. The Constitution introduced terms as such as minorities, scheduled caste, and scheduled tribe as secular administrative categories. For instance, if a social group is culturally, religiously, linguistically distinct and numerically inferior, it might be recognized as a minority. The problem is how they want to implicate this. The problem is why they are so much delayed in the process. The problem is why just 3-4 days ahead of Lok Sabha polls. I mean, it's just an eyewash, sir. What you want to show to the people of India, what kind of charity you want to do with the people who already been kicked off in 2016-17. Where was BJP? We are the ones sitting in Bengal. We are helping the Mauas. We are helping the scheduled tribes. And whoever the kind of refugee we have given the pathas, I mean the land, we have given the zameens.
Okay. So you're saying it's not just about the CA, Sanju Verma. It's the CA and the NRC together, which becomes, according to the opposition, a deadly combination. Let me try and explain to our viewers what they're saying. So the CA is about who can get citizenship in India before 31st December 2019. Then there is the National Registry of Citizens, which basically looks at who all are incorporated as Indian citizens. The opposition will say that those who are not Indian citizens, who are not in the NRC, and now because there is CAA, they are not from those 6 minority religions from these countries and therefore cannot apply for Indian citizenship, they will then become illegal. So they're saying don't just go by CAA, it's CAA plus NRC, which together is the problem the opposition is trying to flag. Sanju Verma.
And it will
Thank you, Rahul. Rahul, I need my time, please. Thank you. I will deal with all the issues that you've put forth. First and foremost, I'm so glad that the rules of CAA are coming to fruition. People say, "अरे 4 साल के बाद क्यों किया? ये तो 4 साल पहले होना चाहिए था." तो देर आए दुरुस्त आए to the perennial pessimists. But more importantly, first argument against CAA, it violates Article 14 of the Constitution. But let me tell you that this has nothing to do with any bona fide Indian citizen. It deals with persecuted minorities from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan. So Article 14 का तो यहाँ पर जिक्र करना भी it does not hold any water. Point number 2, the BJP is trying to polarize and communalize the electorate. So let me remind Jairam Ramesh specifically through your show, Rahul Kanwal, because he has an opinion on everything under the sun, incoherent as it may be. Mr. Jairam Ramesh, it was on the 8th of April 1950 that the Nehru-Liaquat Ali Pact was signed, and under the aegis of that pact, minorities in both countries, India and Pakistan, were supposed to be preserved, protected and rehabilitated. Now, unfortunately, Liaquat Ali expired in October 1951, and the protection to persecuted minorities remained a chimera, remained a dream. And the man who was Home Minister under Jawaharlal Nehru and the Labour and Employment Minister under Pandit Nehru, a man called Gulzari Lal Nanda, who was also twice the caretaker Prime Minister, albeit for a brief period in India, he openly said that, the CAA, you call it what you will by a different term, should have been implemented right then. Unfortunately, after...
You aren't answering my question, Sanju Verma. The question that the opposition has is CAA plus NRC. CAA by itself, you can argue and explain why you brought it. When you look at the aggregate impact of having a national registry of citizens where illegal immigrants will obviously not become citizenship, and CAA takes away any potential of them becoming Indian citizens, and suddenly you will have in states like Assam, in states like West Bengal, a whole group of people who exist in our country at this moment who then are illegal, and and most of them are from the minority community, the Muslim community, and therefore it will lead to a Hindu versus Muslim polarization. Respond to this charge, CAA plus NRC together.
I'm responding to your charge, Rahul. You gave the TMC a free run to say whatever he wanted to say.
Man, he spoke for lesser time than you. He spoke for lesser time than you. Respond to my question, but go on.
Can I respond? You're not the anchor.
Okay, Tasifi, let her speak. I'll come back to you because she didn't answer my question. Allow her to answer my question. I will come back to you.
I'm coming to your question, Rahul. Yeah. Rahul, let's get one thing very clear. The CAA, as you have been repeatedly reinforcing, deals not with Indian citizens, minority or majority. It deals from persecuted minorities from Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan, whereas the NRC deals with the legitimate record of citizens in India, the national registry, what you will. And specifically speaking of West Bengal, let me tell you one thing that you should also be talking of. It was way back in 2007 that Buddhadev Bhattacharya, Mamata Banerjee's predecessor, had said that as per the Indira Gandhi Mujibur Rahman agreement of 1972, we will give citizenship status to the Mathua Samaj. And as you know, the Mathua Samaj is basically the Nam Shudra Dalit community, which is how they are classified as. I want to ask Mamata Banerjee, you are giving lectures to Narendra Modi. You have been in power for more than 2 terms. This is your 3rd term running. You had promised in 2011, hum Mathua Samaj ko citizenship status denge. Why are they still languishing in the...
So let me actually counter this and ask Mohammad Tasifur, because, even if we look at the opposition charge, which is that CAA will give citizenship to persecuted minorities, NRC will ensure that those who are illegal immigrants in India, illegally settled here, will suddenly be in no man's land because they can't become Indian citizens, can't have Aadhaar card, can't benefit from any government scheme, and therefore they will then be stuck. Most people who are watching this broadcast at this time will say, why does Mamata Banerjee have sympathy towards these illegal immigrants? If these people from Bangladesh, from other countries have entered India illegally, why should we tolerate them? I mean, America doesn't have a situation where any Mexican can come in or any Latin American can come into India. Why should these people be allowed into India? And is the Mamata Banerjee government showing sympathy towards them because they largely vote for you and are one of the reasons why you are in power in West Bengal? If they were to be sent back or if action were to be taken, most people who are watching at this time would frankly say, yes, we don't want these illegal immigrants. If they are persecuted, if it's a different matter. If they are not persecuted and if they're just coming in, I mean, please stay in Myanmar or stay in Bangladesh. Why come to India?
Exactly.
Tasifur?
Rahul?
I can't believe you didn't hear my question.
No. It was just breaking a little bit. Can I hear the last part what you said?
Sir, my question is this, that if you ask most people who are watching this broadcast, they would say, Is Mamata Banerjee worried about these illegal immigrants because they largely vote for the Trinamool? Because it's been a long-running practice that local leaders help them get some kind of Indian certification. They stay back, they vote for the Trinamool. Most people would say if they are illegally in our country, why should we accept them? If they have no problem in their country, it's not like they're being persecuted. If they have no problem in their country, why should we accept them? Mexico is not allowed to send any number of Mexicans into America. America has very strong rules about who can come in and who can't. Why should India have this open door towards any illegal immigrant who wants to come into India?
Now, this is what we want to clarify. That will this law will ask the minorities to leave from here, or the prosecuted minorities, or the people staying before 2014 will be asked to leave India, yes or no? We want to know the laws, we want to know the implication, how they want to do it. And when they are talking, nahi bhaiya, 2014 के बाद से जो भी यहाँ पर आया,
December 19.
December 19, जो भी आएगा हम उनको वो दे दें. So there is a kind of hypocrisy. You want to charge Mamata Banerjee government that she wants to save the people.
No, why are you sympathetic towards these illegal immigrants? Why should I welcome them? They're on my land, in my country. We already are the world's most populated country. Why should we open our door to illegal immigrants?
Even the Bhajpa, if you see, the Bhajpa got 18 seats in West Bengal. Where was Bhajpa when they wanted the vote from those illegal immigrants? I'm not diverting the issue. You have a valid point. You have a valid point. Now they say कि हमारे जितने भी लोग बाहर से आए हम उनको धक्का मार के नहीं भगाने वाले. We want to save them. I mean, if in that case, who did the development of Mathura Thakur Bari? We did it. Who has built the college and the universities? Yes, we did it. Our government has done. No one else.
No, you're not answering my question, Mohammad Tasifur. It's almost as if you're not understanding or pretending not to understand what I'm saying. I'm saying, why are you sympathetic towards these illegal immigrants? Why is your heart bleeding for them?
No. See, these illegal immigrants are coming after 2011, after the TMC government arrived in West Bengal, or they are staying here since 1947. Who are these people? You need to rectify them, Rahul. Even we have some questions how to rectify them. We have the refugees colony as well. So are you going to say that these refugees came after 2011? Or they are here staying since 1947 or 1965 or 71?
No, but why are you confusing the matter? The government's notification says that those who've come before December 31, 2019, those who are Indian citizens will stay Indian citizens. For those who've come after, why are you confusing this?
No, I'm not confusing. Let the implications begin and we'll see to it. We are not running behind. We are not running backwards. That no, we are not karne denge. Whatever the thing is has to be clear with black and white.
Okay. So now the next question, Sanju Verma, really is this, which is what it comes down to. Okay, so once CAA plus NRC is implemented, in every state you'll have a certain number of people. In states like Bengal, it will be running into the millions potentially, who are illegal. Ab inka karna kya hai? Their charge is, because they are from the minority, you will say send them back to Bangladesh. Bangladesh's government, even though it's friendly towards us, will not take these citizens back, saying, boss, they're your citizens, you can't send them back. And therefore, they will become in no man's land. And therefore, even if they aren't persecuted now, they will feel persecuted later. And because they are from the minority community, that's what you want, because it suits, because the opposite suits the Trinamool. This suits you, which is why you're doing it. Respond to this concern.
You know, Rahul, that's a very nice question. And I want to bring out one very important nuance here in the entire debate. You know, as you rightly said, the threshold cutoff date for implementing CAA is those who entered India prior to 31st December 2014. And I'm talking of persecuted religious minorities. Now, if you notice very carefully, who are the persecuted minorities? Basically, 2011 ke dauran, during the Mahakumbh and Kumbh Mela, many Hindus from Pakistan came and they settled outskirts of Delhi ke aspas, Majnu ka Tila, which is where most of the migrants are living. But remember one thing, these are not illegal migrants because they came on a visa and then they never went back to Pakistan and settled down here. Now, prior to Taliban taking over Afghanistan, somewhere in 2012-13, persecuted Hindus and Parsis from Afghanistan came and settled.
No, you are not answering my question, Sanju Verma. No, but please come to my question, because I also have a second debate to go to. There will be a certain number of people who will be identified as illegal migrants. What is your government's plan for those illegal migrants? Iska jawab do na.
उसी पे जवाब दे रहे हो भाई साहब. All I'm saying is कि यदि आप वीजा के साथ किसी लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट के साथ इंडिया आए थे, पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश या अफगानिस्तान से, पर वापस नहीं गए, then you will be granted citizenship. But यदि आप एक illegal Rohingya हो, you just came in, without any valid documentation, then India is not a signatory to the United Nations.
No, so what happens to them? Because Myanmar won't take them back, Bangladesh will not take them back, whatever number it is.
ये कहाँ लिखा है कि बांग्लादेश उनको नहीं लेगा, म्यांमार नहीं लेगा?
We've spoken to the Bangladesh government. Ma'am, the Bangladesh government has made quite clear. Madam, the Bangladesh government has made quite clear that it doesn't accept them as Bangladeshi citizens.
What are you trying to tell me? That the government should mollycoddle illegal Rohingyas? वो नहीं होगा.
नहीं तो कहाँ जाएंगे?
अरे,
ma'am, but where will they go? Okay, no, please, just one second. Let's try and talk rationality here. You've identified these people as being illegal, okay?
Screaming repeatedly when I'm talking.
Ma'am, we've identified a certain number of people as being illegally in India. The Bangladeshi government won't take them back. The Myanmarese government won't take them back. My question is, what will you do with them?
That is what I'm coming to. Wait. So now we have made a distinction between valid migrants who came on a valid visa but did not go back, versus Rohingyas who came to India without any valid documentation. These are illegal migrants. These are not persecuted minorities. These are not refugees. They will be sent back. How they will be sent back, whether there will be some kind of a bilateral agreement with Bangladesh or with Myanmar, that we have to see. But India is not, beholden to
that's
keep them
just,
here because we are not a signatory
Raghav Avasti,
to the
listen,
International
now that's a
Refugee
political
Protocol
point.
of 1967.
The fact of the matter is that the Rohingyas are a persecuted community in Myanmar. Now some of them may have just come in without being persecuted, but as a whole, it is as clear as day that the Rohingyas are being terribly persecuted in Myanmar. Now, you've got a group of people who the government after CAA and NRC has identified as being illegally present on Indian soil. That question needs to, Sanju Verma is getting agitated and saying, how dare they stay, which is all great. Where will they go? Myanmar is not taking them back, Bangladesh is not taking them back. Where will they go? Kya hoga unka?
I will first speak with my lawyer hat. Sanjuji rightly pointed out that India is not a signatory to the UN Refugee Convention, and I will add one more point to that. India is also what is known as a dualist country. It's not a monist country, right? So even if there was a convention that India was signatory to, the convention would have to be enacted into domestic law. As of now, we are at step 0. So we have absolutely no legal obligation under international law. Just because there is an international convention that some other countries are signatories to, it does not enjoin any obligation upon us. So this is something that we need to understand in legal terms. We are not obliged to keep any immigrant who's come into this country illegally, irrespective of how much persecution they face. The legal position
So where will they go? Let's talk brass tacks. Now you've got a community of illegal people. Where will they go? What will you do with them?
The first step is to repatriate them.
Respective countries.
They will have to be repatriated.
Ma'am, but Bangladesh and Myanmar is not going to take those people back. They've already said so.
They have said so.
Then it doesn't matter. In India, they have political rights in India.
Narendra Modi will ensure that illegal Rohingyas are sent back.
No, how will you ensure that?
Ensure that illegal Rohingyas are sent back.
How will you ensure that?
I'm having my concern, Rahul. So are you trying to tell me? This is why I'm having my concern. That India कोई धर्मशाला है?
नहीं, but ये तो political. अरे बाबा, Sanju Verma, that's a political rhetorical argument. If it's a debate, you get 10 on 10. But in the real world, Rohingyas are persecuted in Myanmar. Thousands have been killed. They've been displaced from their villages and they've been sent. Some of them slipped into India. Now they are here. Myanmar is not willing to take them back. What will you do? Will you throw them into the Arabian Sea, the West? What will you do? Will you throw them into the Bay of Bengal?
Not be allowed to vote or participate in political process in India.
Can you stop making it so noisy? Can I just come in for 30 seconds?
Okay, let Sanju Verma speak. What will you do? Will you throw them in the Bay of Bengal?
अरे भाई साहब चुप हो जाओ ना, इतनी बार सवाल रिपीट क्यों कर रहे हो? I heard you. I'm not deaf, Rahul. As of now, there are 2 lakh illegal Sri Lankan Tamils. There are 25,000 illegal Afghanis, and there are about 45,000 illegal Rohingyas. किसी को भी अरेबियन सी या बे ऑफ बंगाल में ढकेला नहीं गया है. But because we are not
Tausifu, let us speak. Let us speak. No, this is not right. Let Sanju complete.
We will have. All I'm saying is, Rahul, फिलहाल म्यांमार ने मना किया है, you're right. फिलहाल बांग्लादेश Pakistan, whichever the relevant countries are, they don't want to take back the illegal migrants from their respective nations. But the Modi government will engage with these countries, will ensure that diplomatic heft is used, and these people are rehabilitated in their own nations. India dharamshala thodi hai ki bhai yahan par 2 lakh
but they're not willing to take them back. Raghav Awasthi, they're not willing to. You can keep saying we'll send them. So that is the problem. No? Then all these people then are actually persecuted because they can't go back to their country. We suddenly say you're no longer welcome over here, and then they are stuck. You can't obviously throw them in the Bay of Bengal. Even Donald Trump couldn't do that.
This is why we are saying you can't interrupt everybody. This is not fair.
Yeah, I agree. Let him speak. Let Raghav speak.
Right. So the first point that is to be made here is that as an initial step, we need to make sure that these people don't get to participate in the political process, right? So once we've identified them, we can make sure that they're not getting any Aadhaar cards or any documents through illegal means.
Okay, that's fair. Don't make them citizens. That's fair. Nobody can quarrel with that. But then do what with them?
As far as the second point is concerned.
And now, Sanjuji, you are speaking over him. That's not fair either. Let him speak, please.
What we can do, as Sanjuji also rightly pointed out, the diplomatic heft can be used, and in the meantime, we can have some sort of a halfway house.
What is the halfway house?
Stay as citizens. They cannot stay as citizens, so maybe
where will they go?
We can build some centers where they can stay. There are so many such holding centers at the US-Mexican border.
No, but it's not a small number. When it comes to illegal Bangladeshi immigrants, it runs into the lakhs, potentially even in the millions, depending on how you actually do the classification.
First, we need to figure out as to what the cutoff date is. Once we've figured out the cutoff date is, and we have some idea as to the numbers, then we can make arrangements.
Now come back to what Sanju Verma and Raghav are saying. The bit that I agree with in what they're saying is that India is not a dharamshala. No, one second. Tosifu, respond. So of course, this whole process is messy. This whole process is not a pleasant process. But at some point in time, you have to say enough is enough. We cannot just keep taking, because in the bordering districts of Assam and West Bengal, demographics have been changed largely, sometimes also for political reasons, because it has suited the governments over there. So at some point in time, you need to take the bull by the horns and say, no, enough is enough. We can't keep having all these illegal immigrants slide in.
I absolutely agree with you. Some people want to become more pious than the Pope, but I have my own concern, Rahul, and I will stick to it. The article which I was talking about, this act also excludes Muslim in 2 ways. It highlights the persecution of non-Muslim in neighboring Muslim countries, and at the same time does not include Muslims in the list of preferred migrants. This incursion is seen as a violation of Article 14, equality before law, and Article 25, freedoms of religion. If the fundamental reason for this policy in India desire to redress persecution, why does it draw a line at some faith but exclude others? I have my concern. I want to talk to your viewers. I mean, it's very gaudy looking things कि हाँ भैया कोई भी असम के MP भी आके दो checking that I'm very much fascinated with this law, but somewhere or the other, people will get affected and where they are going to stay. And of course, when CAA will come, NRC will also come as well. You can't deny that.
Why is it anti-Muslim? Let Sanju, I'm out of time, and that's a whole different debate. And we hope to ask the Home Minister and several other people at the India Today conclave this question. But this is an important point, that Rohingyas are also persecuted, badly so, and very clearly documented their persecution. Why can't they come in? Why should it exclude one religion and include Parsis and Christians and Sikhs and Hindus, but not one community?
Okay, Rahul Kanwal, let me ask you, how many theocratic Islamic nations are there who have openly declared that they follow Islam? 57 is what I heard. Have any of these 57 nations said कि भाई ये रोहिंग्यास हमारे यहाँ भेज दीजिए? तो क्या सारा ठेका भारत ने ले रखा है? जबकि I repeat, we are not a signatory to the.
No, but why are you willing to take persecuted people from some religions but not Muslims? Then they'll say internationally that you're anti-Muslim.
अरे भाई साहब, this was crystallized way back on the 8th of April between Nehru and Liaquat Ali. जो 1950 में होना चाहिए था, वो आज 2024 में हो रहा है. Thanks to Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, persecuted minorities are being given citizenship.
Okay. Now this is a
persecuted minorities in Pakistan. Muslims persecuted minorities in Pakistan. Hindus are persecuted minorities in Bangladesh, or are Muslims persecuted minorities in Bangladesh? इसका जवाब नहीं है आपके पास, राहुल कंवल?
No, so what if in Tamil, what if in Sri Lanka there are persecuted minorities who are not Hindus? Sri Lanka has Buddhists, they have different kinds of religion.
There are over 2 lakh Sri Lankan Tamils who are still staying as refugees in India, and they are likely to be given citizenship status because they came with valid documents. If you came into India without valid documents, you will be sent back, if not today, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, after tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, I'm out of time and I need to move on because I want to shift attention to the electoral bond debate as well. But the fact is that this is an ideological project. This is something the government is doing with conviction because it believes it has the people's support with them. Now, the morality of what is at play, why exclude one community and another, the government is willing to overlook that and say, this is what we promised. We were voted by the Indian citizen to come to power and we've delivered on our promise. And it's not like we hid that we were going to do this. We went with our manifesto which had the promise of a Citizenship Amendment Act, and before the elections are announced, we've gone out and announced. Now every citizen really, on the basis of his own morality and the basis of his own conscience, will determine whether or not they think that is right or wrong, and everybody will have their own view on it. But we'll track what happens and the reactions in different states very carefully. I want to shift our attention to the other part that I want to track tonight. The Supreme Court today dismissed the State Bank of India's plea seeking more time to furnish details of electoral bonds. The top court has now ordered the SBI to provide donor details to the Election Commission by tomorrow. But while information about who bought the bonds and which party received how much funds from them will be revealed, details about who donated how much to which party will still not be known. Here's a detailed report.
A big blow to State Bank of India in poll bonds case. Supreme Court on Monday pulled up India's biggest bank for delaying revealing details of electoral bonds despite the earlier SC order. The SC junked SBI's plea seeking time till June 30 and asked it to share data by Tuesday. The poll panel has been asked to upload the data on its website by 5 p.m. on Friday.
SBI is directed to disclose the details by the close of the business hours, 12 March 2024. Full stop. As regards the ECI, we direct that ECI shall compile the information and publish the details in its official website no later than by 15 March, by 5 p.m. on 15 March 2024.
The top court warned that if SBI fails to adhere, it will face contempt proceedings.
Bearing in mind the application which was submitted for extension of time, we place SBI on notice that this court may be inclined to proceed against it for willful disobedience of the judgment if SBI does not comply with the directions of this court as set out in its judgment dated 15 February 2024 by the timelines indicated in this order.
But in a big relief for SBI, which cited humongous amount of data, the top court allowed it to furnish two lists. First list of donors and denominations of poll bonds, and the second list of bonds redeemed by political parties. SBI doesn't have to connect the two lists, which will effectively block linking specific donors to individual parties.
The State Bank of India will not be providing any details on which donor has donated the money to which political party, essentially meaning that there will be no matching between the two sets of data and there will be no data on which political party has received the amount from which particular donor. Keeping this in mind, it comes as a sigh of relief not just for Bharatiya Janata Party, which has been the biggest beneficiary of the electoral bond scheme, but all of the other political parties that might have been shifty about the details of who has been donating the money for their political activities.
While Congress staged protests at an SBI branch in Bengaluru, party MP Rahul Gandhi called poll bonds the biggest scam and Modi's donation business.
It's very important for the people to know who are the purchasers of these electoral bonds, which political parties were the beneficiaries. Please understand, there's a crucial difference between the donations received by other parties and the BJP. The BJP is in a position to give favors to those who contributed to it.
Will SC ruling ensure complete transparency in funds used in elections? With Kanu Sharda in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Chief Justice of India and the Constitution Bench was in a very stern mood today, ticking off Harish Salve, who was arguing on behalf of the government and the State Bank of India, explaining why this couldn't be done. But the Chief Justice came down very hard on the SBI's argument, saying that what you're saying in open court is different from what you've written in the affidavit and that you actually have these details. So why not just make them available? Anjali Bhardwaj is a well-known social activist. She's been fighting this case and arguing for transparency in electoral bonds for a very long time. Sanju Verma is back with us. So I want to go across to Anjali Bhardwaj first. Now, there is mixed opinion on whether the Supreme Court's decision actually will bring about more transparency or not, because the counter can be that if you make public who donated how much without revealing to whom, a lot of what was earlier being given in black will once again go back to being given in black to these political parties. That electoral bonds to some extent brought that black money into white. Now it will revert back into black and no one is any the wiser or any the better.
Well, first of all, Rahul, I think let's be very clear about one thing. The Supreme Court in its judgment on the 15th of February asked the SBI to give two pieces of information. One was purchaser details, who purchased the bonds, of what denomination and on which date. And the other, very clearly, was redeemers details. Which political party encashed the bonds, what denomination they were and what date. So nothing has changed today. The Supreme Court has very firmly stood by its decision, its judgment of February 15. And I think that there is no question that there will be much greater transparency once there is compliance with the Supreme Court's judgment. For the simple reason that today, I, as a citizen, all the citizens in this country have no idea who has been buying electoral bonds. The regulators in this country, the Election Commission, the RBI, nobody knows who is buying electoral bonds. What is going to happen on the 15th of March, once there is compliance with the Supreme Court's judgment, is that we will all know who donated.
But you won't know who they donated to. Take any corporate group, if they bought 100 rupees of bonds, you don't know who they gave them to.
Yes. So you are absolutely right that they are not linking. The matching was neither ordered on the 15th of February, nor has the court insisted that it be done today. So what will happen really is that there will be a list of all the donors, including all the companies, because let's remember that 94% in value terms of the electoral bonds have been in the denomination of 1 crore rupees, which is indicative of corporate funding. And that's what the court had also said. So we will now know the list of all those who gave these electoral bonds, and there will be a lot of investigative journalism. There will be people who will be examining these lists, and there will be
to see who got what. At least once we know which corporate group Sanju Verma gave how much money, you can see how they've grown or what benefits they got or which projects they got, and then people can form their own judgment. Therefore, Anjali argues it leads to transparency. Also, Harish Salve got a very sorry figure in court today. He got a real pasting from the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court basically said what you've said in the affidavit is different from what you're saying in the court. This whole jalebi that you created about matching, as Anjali points out, the Supreme Court never asked for it. They never said match the bond to which party it went to. The Supreme Court never asked for it. So this is like a jalebi of the government and the SBI's own making.
Rahul, first and foremost, this is a very unpopular opinion and I'm taking a bit of a risk, but I will have to say this with no offense to the Supreme Court. This entire electoral bond issue, it caught fire in 2018 because in 2018, the same Supreme Court said that electoral bonds are a great way of funding elections in an electoral democracy like India, because you at least know that the money is coming via checks and not via cash, which is what used to happen for the longest time, for 50, 60, 70 odd years. So 70 सालों तक तो पहले, election funding used to happen with cash and black money. Let's not kid ourselves about anything.
Why don't you come to the question I've asked you? The government was never asked to do matching. The SBI was never asked to do matching. They made that jalebi on their own account and the Supreme Court just squashed what they were saying. And someone like Harish Salve looked really silly and sorry in court today.
There is no jalebi, and there is no, Indori poha that I'm going to discuss on your show. Let's not trivialize. I just have this to say that if the State Bank of India has now been given an ultimatum, no less, by the apex court, I always say, irrespective of whether you agree with the Supreme Court or not, if the highest court of the land has asked the SBI, the premier public sector bank, to furnish details, that will be done. But I will also add one thing, Rahul Kaval. I will not allow the opposition to take the moral high ground कि electoral bonds की funding का खुलासा होगा, so then the BJP will be in deep trouble, because let's be very clear, as a percentage of total funds, only 52% of BJP's funding comes from electoral bonds.
S.Y. Qureshi, a couple of points which I want to draw you into. One, how are we better off? You know, if this information is made available in the way that it will be or is supposed to be, people may start going away from electoral bonds because every party knows who's funding how much. Even if they don't reveal it, at least Congress knows that कि मुझे मिला कि नहीं मिला, maybe नहीं मिला. BJP knows अच्छा इसने दिया, हमें तो मिला नहीं, मतलब वहाँ गया. So they can do their own calculation regardless of whether it comes out in the public or not. Which basically means that a lot of these companies may revert to funding in black. They used to fund elections in black. At least it came into white. Now it will go back into black. How are we better off?
Yeah, quite right. Very well said. Before 2018, 70% of all the donations were in cash, and Election Commission and others were raising serious concerns about it. We are back to that situation now, but at the same time, there have been solutions on mentioned again now and again, that instead of corporate funding of political parties, let us set up a national election fund.
No, but that's a different argument, Mr. Qureshi. I'm on facts, not on an idea. If the bonds are now disclosed, any big corporate which is funding boss, यार ये तो पता चल जाएगा किसको कितना दिया, मत दो. इसको black में ही दो. So we are back to black.
Let me come back to that only. You are right. It has been a partial success for ADR and others, because unless we know who is the donor and who is the recipient of that money, it doesn't really help. Now the whole nation will now be trying to connect the dots, who was the donor, so it is not leading us anywhere. And that was the problem with the original judgment itself. The Supreme Court never asked for that information from the SBI, and I don't know why SBI was delaying something which was already on their computer.
No, but also why should it be made public? That's the other point. Let's assume that XYZ person funds some party. You made a promise, sir. It's like, for example, voluntary disclosure income schemes, right? You made a promise when you took that money that you won't disclose my name. Later, you go and disclose how much I gave. That's like going back on a contract. That's like going back on a promise.
Let me tell you, this case has been in the court from the beginning. And all these donors who have donated have big law department. And they know once the case is before the Supreme Court, the result can go either way. For them to now plead innocence, look, we get donated because we were promised secrecy. They should have known that there's the case.
No, but then they'll all go back to black. They'll all go back to funding in black. So how is the election process better off?
No, wait. Rahul, which is why they will... No, I'm answering your question. They will go back to black, which is why I'm saying that there is an alternative route of curbing black money, and we should now look at that.
No, but that's a different, much larger point. We are here and now. There's an election, there's a reality, there's a situation at this moment. Your idea of an electoral fund is not the problem with that is you never know whether it will be just that money or they'll take that money from the public exchequer and get their own money on the side. So that also may not be a solution.
So, no, but I don't know then what do you want to know from this case, because whatever I understood, I've already explained to you.
No, I'm trying to understand, and you're not at this moment at least being able to explain to me, how are we better off with this judgment? If we go back to elections being funded in black, how are we better off?
Yeah, we are not better off with this judgment in the sense, unless we know who is the donor, so that we can find the quid pro quo. We are not better off because we are not going to know that.
Okay, let Anjali Bhardwaj try and answer that. S.Y. Qureshi agrees we are not better off with this judgment. Do you agree or disagree, Anjali Bhardwaj?
Look, Rahul, this was something that was debated in the court also. Before electoral bonds came, As citizens, we had no idea what was being donated through cash to political parties. But whatever was coming through the banking channels, we had information. What the electoral bonds did was that while cash continued, because there was, in fact, the Solicitor General said it in those many words, that cash has not stopped. This system has not stopped the flow of cash. But whatever was coming through the banking channel also, through electoral bonds, went behind a veil. So what the court has today done is that electoral bonds, which made a bad situation worse in terms of transparency, those have been stopped. And retrospectively, we will now know who was donating money.
No, but going forward, okay, retrospectively you will know, correct. But going forward, ma'am, you're not answering my question. People will not use this route because it cannot now be done. They will go back to donating in black. So how is the Indian election process better off is my question to you.
They were already donating in black.
Ma'am, but a part of it was black, a part of it was formalized. A part of it was in black, a part of it was formalized because ultimately the money that came in through the banking channels was known. It's a fairly substantive amount. Now, a lot of that will go back into black. So net we could be worse off.
Also, Rahul, your viewers should know that this was something, again, we are not saying, it was discussed in the court, that the government always had a way, and therefore the ruling party always had a way to know who was donating to whom, because all of this was being transacted through the SBI. So donors knew if they were giving to an opposition party through electoral bonds, that
March 2018 to July 2023, a total of 13,792 crore rupees were sent using these electoral bonds. My argument is that a large part of this 13,000 crore rupees in the future will go back to the black channels.
Rahul, they could also be just transacted through the banking channel. And what I'm saying is that we as citizens were not even being given information about what is happening through the banking
let
channel.
Sanju Verma respond to that. There is information asymmetry.
And also on your point of whether this should have been done, whether, retrospectively it should have been done. Section 7 of the Electoral Bond Scheme is very clear, that there is anonymity till a competent court orders disclosure. All political parties have legal analysts. They would have told them that if any competent court, and this is the highest court of the land, if any competent court at any point orders disclosure, they would have to disclose.
So
parties were doing this.
Sanju Verma, coming on the point about information asymmetry, that because this is a public bank, because it's the chief is appointed by the government, if it wants to know who's giving how much, will know. Opposition mein kisko kitna mila. The opposition doesn't know who's funding the government. So earlier everybody was blind. Now one side has information, the other side doesn't have information. So it's a worse equation than in the past.
Rahul, one thing which your audience needs to know is that what the Supreme Court has told the SBI to reveal, all that this SBI will reveal is the list of donors and the list of recipients. List of recipients ki knowledge to.
Ma'am, you're not answering my question about information asymmetry. You almost acting as if you didn't hear or understand my question. You're very smart. You understand what I'm saying.
I'm coming to that. Why are you getting so rattled?
Because आप जवाब ही नहीं दे रहे हो. जब से आए हो आपको जो जवाब देना होता है आप देते हो. मेरे सवाल का जवाब नहीं देते हो.
आप इतने impatient तो पहले कभी नहीं थे. आज आपको हुआ क्या है, राहुल जी?
Okay, why don't you answer my question, ma'am?
I'm answering your question. I don't think there is any information asymmetry because please understand that under Section 3 of the ECI guidelines pertaining to the Constitution, Article 324, even the government, it cannot summarily ask SBI to provide information ki recipients ki list do or donors ki list do. But abhi every stakeholder will be privy to the same information.
Ma'am, you ask most people who are watching at this time that if somebody powerful in the government asks the SBI chairperson whose tenure and appointment depends on the government ki batao bhai kisko kya mila, will he not give the information? So if the government wants to get the information, it can get the information. Even if the opposition wants to get the information, it cannot get the information.
Rahul, tell me one thing.
Yes.
Tell me one thing. No, please now keep quiet because I heard you you made a very reckless remark. I want to ask you something. You are the executive editor of India Today.
I just got demoted, but that's fine. Go on.
Okay, you're the managing editor. My bad. Whatever. I will promote you. Are you telling me that everything that you say and do on your show It has to pass muster with Arun Puri. यदि अरुण पुरी कहेंगे कि राहुल कंवल आपका आज का नैरेटिव ऐसे होना चाहिए on CAA तो आप मानोगे? There is an arm's length. We are all professional people. The government cannot blindly tell SBI अच्छा भाई आज नरेंद्र मोदी और अमित शाह को इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए because it is a public sector bank, आप दीजिए इंफॉर्मेशन. What does the Supreme Court tell Harish Salve today? All it says is let us know the denomination of the bonds, let us know when the bonds were encashed, let us know who were the purchasers of the bonds. You tell me Rahul, कल यदि सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये खुलासा होता है that अंबानी, अडानी, अनिल अग्रवाल, वेदांता ग्रुप, रतन टाटा, Wipro, Infosys, these were the big donors. I think anonymity is very essential. मान लो कल ये पता पड़े कि मुकेश अंबानी ने कांग्रेस को तो दिया था पर टीएमसी को नहीं दिया. Will Mukesh Ambani not be persona non grata in West Bengal? So sometimes anonymity is essential to
so this is a very complex debate. Politics. It has different layers. We tried to unpack some of those complexities. Ultimately, it's for the viewer to decide. Sanju Verma says, do you believe if the SBI chairman is asked by this government to give the details, will he not give the details? I don't want to say anything. I want to leave it to our viewers to decide who they think is right on this. Ultimately, it is for our viewers to decide. Even Sanjuji is smiling, but that's fine. We'll leave it over there. Are we, and as S.Y. Qureshi and Anjali Bharadwaj both said, are we better off? You know, ultimately, if I am making a donation in the promise that this will be kept secret, suddenly you reveal my name. Is that fair to that person? Now, S.Y. Qureshi argued that they have big legal cells and stuff, but at that time, they understood the process to be what it is. So it has different complexities. And let's see how this plays out. Mr. S.Y. Qureshi, Anjali Bharadwaj said something important. There will now be a lot of these activists who will try and map, and even the political party will know. Take any company, I don't name someone, but if that company paid 100 crores to X and the opposition says, hame to nahi mila, or if the government says, hame to nahi mila, then they know that it didn't come to them, and then does that particular corporate then get victimized? So there are different layers at which this will play out from here on. For the time being, Mr. Qureshi, Anjali Bharadwaj and Sanju Verma for joining me on the news track. Thank you very much. As I said, life is not black and white. There's no one yes and one no. There's no one right and one wrong. There is complexity. What we try and do on the news track is to try and penetrate the different layers of complexity so you get a more nuanced view of the things the way they are. Otherwise, you've just got Anbhakti on the one side and you've got people who are just going after the government on the other and without really thinking.